You find yourself on a version of Earth that's never heard music. You have the complete catalog. What's the first piece you introduce humans to? NASA sent out into space a disk of photos, music, sounds and greetings called the Golden Record. It's on the Voyager, which was launched in 1977 and is the farthest thing from us, going approximately 60,000 kilometers per hour. Web link. Link didn't work for me. Here's the list for those that had the same issue. Bach, Brandenburg Concerto No. 2 in F First Movement, Munich Bach Orchestra, Karl Richter, conductor. 440. Java, Court Gamelan, Kinds of Flowers, recorded by Robert Brown. 443. Senegal, Percussion, recorded by Charles Duvel. 208. Zaire, Pygmy Girl's Initiation Song, recorded by Colin Turnbull. 056. Australia, Aborigine Songs, Morning Star and Devil Bird, recorded by Sandra LeBrun Holmes. 126. Mexico, El Cascabel, performed by Lorenzo Barceleta and the Mariachi Mexico. 314. Johnny Be Good, written and performed by Chuck Berry. 238. New Guinea, Men's House Song, recorded by Robert McLennan. 120. Japan, Shakuhachi, Tsuru no Sugimori, Crane's Nest, performed by Goro Yamaguchi. 451. Bach, Gavotte en Rondeau from the Partita No. 3 in E major for violin, performed by Arthur Grumio. 255. Mozart, The Magic Flute, Queen of the Night aria, No. 14. Etta Moser, soprano. Bavarian State Opera, Munich, Wolfgang Sawallisch, conductor. 255. Georgian SSR, chorus, Chakrulo, collected by Radio Moscow. 218. Peru, Panpipes and Drum, collected by Casa de la Cultura, Lima. 052. Melancholy Blues, performed by Louis Armstrong and his Hot 7. 305. Azerbaijan SSR, Bagpipes, recorded by Radio Moscow. 230. Stravinsky, Rite of Spring, Sacrificial Dance, Columbia Symphony Orchestra, Igor Stravinsky, conductor. 435. Bach, The Well-Tempered Clavier, Book 2, Prelude and Fugue in C, No. 1. Glenn Gould, piano. 448. Beethoven, Fifth Symphony, First Movement, The Philharmonia Orchestra, Otto Klemperer, conductor. 720. Bulgaria, Isilil J. Delio Hagduten, sung by Valya Balkanska. 459. Navajo Indians, Night Chant, recorded by Willard Rhodes. 057. Holborn, Pawaians, Galliards, Almains, and other short airs, The Fairy Round, performed by David Munro and the Early Music Consort of London. 117. Solomon Islands, Panpipes, collected by the Solomon Islands Broadcasting Service. 112. Peru, Wedding Song, recorded by John Cohen. 038. China, Qin, Flowing Streams, performed by Quan Ping Hu. 737. India, Raga, Hat Kahan Ho, sung by Surshri Kesar Bey Kerkar. 330. Dark Was the Night, written and performed by Blind Willie Johnson. 315. Beethoven, String Quartet No. 13 in B-flat, Opus 130, Cavatina, performed by Budapest String Quartet. 637. Unfortunately no Beastie Boys. Hot cross buns on the recorder. I'm convinced that the entire recorder industry started as a joke to annoy first-grader parents that got way too profitable to give up. The recorder is a weird instrument. It's about as old as written music, but it's not like there are professional recorder players. Okay, that's not strictly true, but they don't admit it to new acquaintances. It was integral to the Renaissance and Baroque sounds, but it was cast aside in favor of the transverse flute, that's the sideways boy, which could produce the volume necessary for a modern orchestra, and also because dudes started thinking it was ungentlemanly to play an instrument that occupied the mouth. In other words, they thought it was not manly. That's why it's largely relegated to elementary school music rooms, but why even there? Mostly because of Karl Orff, most famous for writing Carmina Burana, the bane of high school choirs and movie trailer editors everywhere. He was also a total Nazi, but that's mostly irrelevant except that his method was used to teach Hitler Youth, so have fun imagining those little craps screeching away on their music dicks. When he was developing his Schulwerk method of arts education in the 20s, because hey, everyone has a side hustle, he landed on the recorder as the best instrument for teaching dumb babies how to play music. It's maybe the simplest instrument out there. You don't have to learn any weird mouth movements or, like, the concept of chords, and its small lightweight design makes it easy to carry in your backpack. About 40 years later, American music teachers got super into the Schulwerk method as well as Baroque music, so they saw no reason not to drown in cheap flutes. Oh, yeah, that was another thing that propelled the recorder's popularity in music education and nowhere else. The 60s brought major innovations in the manufacture of plastic, which lends itself to the recorder in a way that doesn't really work for other instruments. Ever played a plastic tuba? There's a reason they call them brass. These days, you can get recorders in bulk for under $1 each, so they probably paid you to take them in the 60s. That's why you know how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on an instrument that fell out of favor in the Vivaldi era, a Nazi, the fickle tastes of music teachers, and the refusal of the American education system to plump up their budgets for 60 years. Source: Crackhead.com. I knew it. Every time I heard a kid screeching away on one of those damn recorders, I always thought, the Nazis must be behind this, somehow. Good God, that civilization would never recover. Sandstorm. You have changed a civilization. Fun fact, the only song ever to be banned from being played at sporting events at the university I go to. Oh, for what reason? Too many band members fainting? Let's just say the student body made up their own lyrics that weren't real friendly to our rival school. YouTube, KSU Sandstorm. I've watched at least 3 YouTube videos and can't figure out what the chant is. What are they chanting? Claire de Lune. Very serene choice. Followed by Anti-Up. Cut that fool. Came in to say this. A classic and probably won't scare off the figurative baby deer. Eric Satie, Gymnopédie 1. Perfect choice. The first time I heard the Gymnopédie, I actually had to stop what I was doing and just sat down and listened. There are 3 times I've ever had such a strong reaction to music: Satie, Olafur Arnalds For Now I Am Winter, and Elbows Switching Off. Fun fact, Eric Satie strongly believed that his pieces should be no more than just ambience. They were made to be unremarkable. He would have taken personal offense if you stopped to admire him while he was playing. However, I think that such simplicity in his music makes it powerful. A blank canvas, where one's own feelings and thoughts can be plastered. I'm sure that if Satie were to have known about my admiration, he would have absolutely slapped me. Nonetheless, I take it with pride. I confess that I know very little about him. What an interesting way to think of your own work. There is something so simple and lovely about his pieces that it makes me stop and just exist for a moment. I find a lot of beauty in tiny everyday things, so maybe he succeeded and I'm just prone to basking in ambience. Love it, but Max Richter Vivaldi Four Seasons Spring 1 is my favorite. For some weird reason, I was driving into work one morning, the first day back to work after taking off from my firstborn being born. This song came on my classical playlist and I started thinking about my little boy growing up, from a baby to a toddler to a young boy to teenager to young adult to college, and adulthood. Thinking about the happiness he will have, and the hardships that we as a family will see together. Man, it killed me. I teared up and had to take a 10-minute break in my car before walking in. For some reason it reminds me of that old YouTube video about life in 1 minute. Here it is, YouTube link. Johnny Be Good. They may not be ready for it yet, but their kids are going to love it. That's heavy. Is there something wrong with Earth's gravitational pull in the future, Marty? Physics is all messed up. I know this because you're my density. Duck. Hey, I've seen this one. How could you have seen this? It's brand new. On a rerun. What's a rerun? You'll find out. You know that sound you've been looking for? Well, listen to this. It's your cousin, Marvin Berry. That's absolute gold. I love you. But your parents weren't ready for him. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. Can teach them how to play hacky sack at the same time. Imagine, the one song everyone knows is Wonderwall and hacky sack becomes the world sport. What a time to be alive. Musical notes. The dream of the 90s is alive in Portland. Musical notes. Today is going to be the day they're going to throw it back to you. Fruit salad by the mother effing Wiggles. Think I liked the Wiggles more than my son did. When I would ask him if he wanted to watch the Wiggles, I was secretly asking for myself. I too like the Wiggles more than I like my son. Yummy yummy. Edit. I cannot believe that out of all my comments this is most upvoted one. Also thank you for the award, kind stranger. Fruit salad. Even better, the Slipknot mashup called Psycho Salad. Absolute banger. I'd link it, but I'm on mobile and lazy. I take your fruit salad and raise you a papadum. If my daughter can listen to it 23 times in a row in the car, then it must have something going for it. Toot toot chugga chugga. Absolute banger. Ode to Joy. There was a really old theory that has since been disproven, but it's still beautiful. Anyways, it went along with the celestial sphere models of the universe and said that as these spheres turned in space that they would grind against each other. This noise is so omnipresent and always around that our brains would then automatically tune it out, making it imperceptible to everyone, but the theory went that every so often a song or a piece would tap into those same notes and resonate far deeper than it had any right to. And the reason it would resonate so deeply and so powerfully even across language and culture barriers was because it keyed into the turning of the celestial spheres and let us hear them. Obviously the theory was proven false, but it's still beautiful to think about, and I can think of no other song that can universally bring people together in that same way than Ode to Joy across nations and cultures. Reading what you wrote here made me happy. Then it was worth writing out. Thank you, kind stranger. I'm glad I could brighten your day a little. Y'all are going to make me cry. Too sweet. I'm not particularly into classical music, but I love Ode to Joy. It's just such a power piece of music. It's even better when you look at where Beethoven was in his life when he wrote it. He had almost completely lost his hearing and was sticking long brass tubes in his ear to feel the vibrations. He was alone and was considering suicide. But he decided he had more music to share with the world, so he composed Ode to Joy. It's absolutely beautiful and a testament to his love of music. Damn it if my music appreciation class didn't make me appreciate music. If I remember right, this is kind of how the fifth went down. Contemplating suicide, but he chose life instead. He was fully deaf when he wrote the ninth. I'll look myself, but to think that he never heard his Ode to Joy is I've. I hope it struck him creating it as it has me listening. You should read about when it was debuted. Beethoven was on stage conducting, but since he was deaf, there was another conductor that the orchestra would actually follow. The story goes that at the end of the fourth movement, Beethoven didn't realize it was done because he couldn't hear, so the mezzo-soprano soloist turned him around to face the audience, who was giving a standing ovation. I don't know if he had perfect pitch, but honestly, if you study music long enough you don't need to hear. Kind of like how after you've been reading a language for long enough, you read it and understand it in your head. You don't need to say the words aloud. Beethoven did have perfect pitch. It's how he wrote Ode to Joy. He heard it in his head and wrote it down on paper. He didn't get to hear it played by a live orchestra, but he did know how it was supposed to sound. I'm not either, but you can't help but stop and listen when you hear it. Beautiful. But in reality, there is a very, very real connection between music and physics. When you play dissonant chords, the air literally is vibrating out of sequence, and we as humans can physically feel it. Then when it drops into harmony, the tension releases and we all breathe easy. Certain chords and progressions play on our physics just right, and we just love them. It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift. The baffled king composing Hallelujah. Furthermore, Over long periods of time, orbiting bodies tend to form resonant orbits. Jupiter's moon Ganymede orbits in half the time as its moon Europa, which orbits in half the time as Io. A ratio of 1 to 2:4. This is the same ratio as playing a note and the 2 octaves above it simultaneously. Pluto orbits the Sun 3 times for every 2 orbits of Neptune. In music, a 3 to 2 ratio is a perfect fifth. Saturn's moons Hyperion and Titan make a 3 to 4 ratio, a perfect fourth. And more have been observed in extrasolar systems. These aren't coincidental. Gravitational forces make these ratios very stable. That said, extrapolating this to we enjoy certain songs because they tap into the sounds of the cosmos is a pretty weak argument, but there's something to be said for nature prefers phenomena that create simple whole number ratios, and the human ear/human processing of sound is just another example of this. It was either Kepler or Brahe, but for the life of me, I can't find any sources. Goes to show that brilliant scientists often have theories that feel right and turn out not to be. To me, that's half the beauty of the process. We speculate based on what we can observe, and even if those speculations are wrong, they drive progress by inspiring someone to prove it. Edit, found it. Apparently, it started with the Greeks before Kepler, but he also did a bit on it. Web link. It's an interesting question. A lot of people are pointing to their favorite songs, songs that rock, or songs that show great musical complexity. I think that would be like giving someone who has never had any spice of any sort in their food a meal that is fantastically nuanced but powerfully spicy. The best parts of it are going to get lost. They probably will get overloaded, overwhelmed, and possibly just turned off altogether. I propose you need to build up to it. You need to start with something like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or some equally memorable children's song. It's simple, digestible, and easy to see the basics. Then build from there. Think of your own musical tastes. Would you always have loved your, now, favorite song? Yes. Or the Rockabye Baby cover of some of the songs people keep mentioning. Start soft and simple. The Rockabye Baby cover of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain. And then we all have a little nap. Not just throw them right into rumors and let them figure it out. If these people hate each other so much, why do they keep singing about how much they want to F each other? Drugs, lots of drugs. Ah, okay. Yeah, think beginner piano pieces. Fur-Elise maybe, Greensleeves, etc. I'll be honest, I think showing Fur-Elise to someone who's never heard music before will most definitely overwhelm them. Maybe Je ne peux dire number 1. I stumbled upon it at a low point in life and loved it. It's so slow and simple, and just beautiful. Or Rockabye, Lullaby, by Sean Mullins. I would start with rhythmic grunts personally. Hey, that's my foreplay strategy and you're not allowed to steal it. Try John Cage's 4 minutes 33 seconds. Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Israel Kamakaviva Ole really is the only answer. Web link. I actually really love this choice. It's simple enough to where it wouldn't break people's brains but also wouldn't be stupid simple like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I feel like with a choice like this, it would be more widely appreciated across all age groups and would inspire them to want more music or to make their own eventually. I agree. There's a few Beatles songs that fit that mold too. Yesterday, with a little help from my friends, Hey Jude, Here Comes the Sun. I'm trying to think what else. My mind says Johnny Cash, but if we were going not too much Spice, The Man Comes Around, Hurt or Cut You Down would be too much lol. Maybe a nice simple lullaby. Not complex, soft and pleasing, and still good music. I rickroll everyone. Unlike Rick Astley, you let me down. You ran around and deserted me. You made me cry. You said goodbye. You told a lie, and hurt me. You gave me up. You let me down. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.